Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of This Studio. My name is Adam, and it's time for an exciting brand new mallet review. It is the Beverley Johnston series from Marimba One. Thank you so much to my studio VIPs: Zero Gravity Percussion, Robert Utomo, Will Flinner, Bradley Crowley, Ryan Carlisle, Rudolph Kralik, Austin Bench, Scott Rader, and Greg Harris. Thank you so much for your continued support. And today's featured studio artist is Nobu Hagiya. Thank you so much for joining the studio artist team. And if you'd like to become a studio VIP or a studio artist, you can go to patreon.com/amtan, or you can click over here. Welcome back to the show once again. I hope you've been well. And yes, today it is time for yet another Marimba One mallet review. Run, Samuels! So Marimba One has featured on this show many times. I mean, I play on a Marimba One instrument. I've reviewed almost every single Marimba One mallet series. In 2017, they sent me the One Vibe. In 2018, they sent me the Wave Marimba. But of course, I do have to say thank you so much to Marimba One for supporting the show since 2016, because yes, not only do I get to have all these mallets on the show for you guys, but I also get to say whatever I want about these products. So as you might have guessed, today's review is not sponsored. I'm not getting paid by Marimba One in any way to endorse these things. I just really like mallets. Yes, a common theme that has been on all of my videos regarding Marimba One so far is that the price point is just quite expensive. Last year we saw a lot of things that might signal a move to more affordable products from Marimba One. For example, the Marimba One Wave, which was a much cheaper 5-octave and 4 1/3 octave marimba compared to something like the Izzy. Last year, Marimba One also released a brand new Wave Wrap series, which was supposed to be more affordable and also more durable and sound better and all of those sort of things. And it did end up being more affordable by about $5. I was like, I really thought there was going to be a cheaper Wave Wrap on the market, but there wasn't until... Yes, when Beverley Johnston last year announced that she was releasing a brand new mallet series with Marimba One, I was very excited. And then I got even more excited when I looked at the preview of these mallets, and they look exactly like the Wave Wraps. And I was even more excited when I found out that Beverley's mallets were going to be cheaper than the Wave Wraps. And then last year at PASIC 2018, I actually got to meet Beverley Johnston for the first time ever, as she was promoting these brand new mallets. And I was a big fan because not only is she a huge Canadian percussionist with many recordings, but she is also someone that I quoted in my Master of Music thesis 2 years ago. So fanboy moment. But yes, enough about my percussion biases. Let's talk about the model lineup. So the Beverley Johnston series is very simple to remember. The model designation is BJ, followed by either B or R for birch or rattan. Starting off with the 1, which is considered a hard mallet, followed by the 2, which is considered a medium mallet, followed by the 3, which is considered a soft mallet, and finally the Vibe model, which is a vibraphone mallet. This series only has 4 models, which is the same as the Lynn Vartan series and the Colin Curry series. So this might be good for you if you're looking to buy an entire series without buying like 15 models or something. And one other thing I want to note is that actually these samples here are both birch and rattan. I've got the birch models of the Vibe model and the 3, and I've got the rattan models of 1 and 2. So we'll be able to review both shafts on the show today. What a delight! For the Beverley Johnston series, our Wave Wrap lights come in at $49 US per pair. That is the price for birch shafts. Obviously rattan shafts cost a little bit more, but $49 US is not too bad. It's not exactly a bad place to be. A lot of mallets out there are around this price point, but I wouldn't say it's an entry level or a student mallet, because it's none of those things. It's definitely a serious mallet. But with that in mind, let's move on to the build quality and design. So the first thing when you think of when you see these mallets is, yes, they literally look exactly the same as Wave Wraps. They have that same jet engine swirl. They have that same tofu oblong pot of greed looking appearance. That aside, I'm a really big fan of this colorway of blue and white. We don't really see many mallets that blend blue and white. The yarn is a synthetic tight yarn, which is very similar to the Wave Wraps. It is a very articulate sound profile that they're looking for. You can just tell by just how small the heads are. We're not looking at something that is warm and gonna make you go woo, woo, woo. It's more gonna be like in your face. And yes, Marimba One is still going for that equatorial design where it will still sound good on every single register of the instrument, no matter the hardness, no matter the model. So we'll test that out in the sound test later on, but judging by the design, I believe that. And because the head is so small and because the yarn is so tight, the build quality of the actual head is very robust. It's very strong. It feels like the wave wraps. I mean, I've used my wave wraps quite a lot and they kind of look the same as they were when they came out of the packet. Whereas these, I would expect them to be exactly the same. Like you probably hit these many hours a day and get a lot of use out of it. Moving along to the shaft. Now, I'm very lucky to have two different types of shafts in this collection because I have some shafts that have the legacy Marimba One logo, the old Lucida handwriting type logo. And we've also got some shafts with the brand new sans serif logo. I don't know which logo you guys prefer. Let me know down in the comments below. Do you like Marimba One circa 2019 or do you like Marimba One circa forever? Let's have a look at the birch shaft first. It's obviously very, very smooth. Again, I've always said this, Marimba One has some of the best birch shafts in the industry. Very, very smooth lacquered finish. Very, very smooth round end at the bottom. What is it, everybody? Smooth ends make friends. Moving along to the rattan shaft, and I really like the feel of this rattan. It's quite stiff actually. A lot of rattan out of the box feels very bendy. I'm sure this one will bend over time, but it feels rigid enough for me, someone who uses birch, to give it a go. The rattan shaft in terms of length is the same as the birch shaft, but in terms of thickness, the rattan shaft is definitely chunkier. I think that's quite a normal thing, that rattan shafts tend to be thicker because thin rattan is really slippery and kind of weird, especially for marimba. But as we move down towards the bottom of the rattan shafts, we notice it is actually not a case of smooth ends make friends. This is a very common trait in rattan mallets, and obviously when you're using rattan, you're probably going to be playing with a burden grip or something. I don't actually know how to hold burden grip very well, but I'm assuming you hold it something like this, so the bottom ends wouldn't actually touch your hand anyway. So it's fine. So yes, Marimba One, I do have to give it to you for the build quality. Very, very strong, very good. Now let's move on to the ergonomics. Now the Beverley Johnston series is considered kind of heavy. I'm holding a wave wrap in this hand to show you that it's very similar to the wave wraps. So definitely not a 50-50 mallet, but not that difficult to use either. Considering the heads are small, it does feel proportionate to its weight, unlike some other Marimba One series. But instead of hypothesizing about it, it's time to scale up. So if you're new to the show, the scale up segment is where I take these mallets and I put them onto a scale and measure the weight in grams. And this will tell you whether there's any differentiation, not just between hardnesses, but also between the actual mallets within the pairs. So let's start off with the lightest mallet, the Vibe mallet, about 35 grams. And the other one comes in also at around 35 grams. Now we're going to move on to the Beverley Johnston ones. Now this particular pair was picked out for me separately. So I'm going to put the heavy one in first, and that one is about 44 grams. The lighter one comes in at 39 grams, which is a lot lighter. That is a whole 4 grams of difference within one hardness. Next up we have the Beverley Johnston 2s, and these ones I also feel like one is slightly heavier than the other, and it sits at about 44 grams. Okay, that is actually very similar to the ones. And here's the lighter one, which comes in at about 43 grams. Okay, 1 gram difference is not too bad. The next one is the Beverley Johnston 3s. Now these feel like they're a little bit more balanced, but we will see. Here's the first one. It's sitting at about 44 grams. And here's the second one, which is sitting at almost 46 grams. Okay, so again, 1 to 2 grams difference is not terrible. So as you saw, the Beverley Johnstons were a bit of a mixed bag. The Vibe mallets were very, very balanced, but these ones, like one of them feels way heavier, almost like a completely different model. But this is a theme that we did see in the double helix video. So I hope that the Beverley Johnstons can be more consistent, like the Vibe pair that I have, or like the wave wraps that I have, which all weigh very close to each other, even though I put tape on them, even though I've used them for like 2 to 3 years now. So very interesting. These mallets are not as bouncy as the wave wraps to use, but they are definitely a point and go sort of mallet. They're not too heavy, they're not too long, but we are going to find out more about that in the sound tests. So yes, we're going to hear what these sound like, but before we do that, if you're enjoying this video, please hit that thumbs up button below. I'd really appreciate it. This is the sound test. Okay, so what did you guys think of the Beverley Johnston mallets? Let me know down in the comments below. Okay, so I have to be honest, that is not my finest sound test because I was holding birch and rattan shafts at the same time in the same hand, and it just kind of put me off. But that being said, the mallets feel pretty okay to use, but you must have noticed that the sound is super articulate. Yes, the mallets do sound clear in all ranges, but they also don't sound particularly hard or particularly soft. They're kind of just in the middle. And that is going to be a problem if you're looking for a mallet series that can cover extremes. For example, if you want a mallet that can give you that gorgeous, heavy sort of soft bass, this ain't it. If you want a mallet that will give you this sort of riki-tiki Japanese type articulate at the top, you might get it with the Vibe mallet, but I still think this ain't it. But if you want a general purpose mallet that's not too expensive, that can be used on vibraphone as well, and sounds good in pretty much any register of the marimba, I would recommend these for you. I really like the Beverley Johnston 2s. I think they're a very solid mallet. The Vibe mallet I think is a little bit too hard for my personal taste to use on marimba, but if you like that sort of thing, that might be good. So yes, a really good priced mallet for that sort of wave wrap feel, wave wrap articulation, wave wrap durability, wave wrap appearance. It's all in the package. Anyway guys, I'd love to know, do you already own Beverley Johnstons? Would you own a pair? Let me know down in the comments below if you're gonna cop. And if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and please hit that red subscribe button below if you haven't already to keep off my uploads. Again, we are still uploading heaps of cool content on this show. Thank you for all of the support on the last episode about learning Bach in 1 hour. I didn't really expect that many people to watch it, but it's been really fun. So I'm gonna make more videos like that, hopefully more challenge videos. And I'm also gonna be releasing some new pieces. And yeah. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys next week for another episode of The Studio. Good night.